I buried my wife while my children posted beach selfies from Cancun. Catherine's email came that morning. Dad, Mom would want celebration, not mourning. We're choosing healing over grief. You understand? I understood perfectly. I understood that margaritas mattered more than their mother's funeral. I understood that 35 years of sacrifice meant nothing when vacation deals expired. 12 empty pews. One father. One check for $8,200. My name is William Hayes, 63 years old, and I built everything my family ever needed. Their house, their college funds, their entire lives. But here's what they didn't know. The same contractor who spent 40 years building things knows exactly how to tear them down. By the way, I'm curious. Have you ever been completely shocked by family? Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. There's so much more to this story, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. 3 weeks later, my children discovered their inheritance was $0. But that was just the beginning. I spent 4 decades with sawdust under my fingernails and concrete dust in my lungs. Hayes Construction started in my garage in 1983 with a borrowed pickup truck and $300. Dorothy and I met at Miller's Diner in 1988. She was 28, serving coffee with a smile that could light up a winter morning. I was the same age, wearing work boots and carrying dreams bigger than my bank account. "What do you do?" she asked, refilling my cup for the fourth time. "I build things," I said. "Houses, dreams, whatever people need." She laughed. "That's quite a promise." "I'll build you anything you want," I told her. 3 months later, I was driving nails into the frame of our first house together. Every board cut by hand, every window installed with care. Dorothy would bring me iced tea and watch me work. "You're building our whole life," she said one afternoon. She was right. I built our first house. Then I built Hayes Construction into something real. Then I built college funds for children who weren't even born yet. The business grew bigger than anyone knew. I thought I was building a legacy. Turns out I was building a lesson. Tyler arrived in 1989, screaming his way into the world with Dorothy's determination and my stubborn streak. Catherine followed in 1992, quiet and thoughtful until she learned to walk. Then she was trouble with pigtails. I expanded the house for them, added bedrooms, a playroom, a workshop where I taught Tyler to use tools. He was 8 when I showed him how to hold a hammer properly. "Feel the weight," I told him. "Respect what it can build." Catherine preferred watching from the doorway, asking questions about blueprints and measurements. Smart as a whip, that one. Asked me once why some houses cost more than others. "Because some people build with love," I said. "Others just build to sell." In 2008, while other contractors went under, I bought commercial property downtown, a warehouse worth $48,000 then. Dorothy signed the papers without reading them. "I trust you," she said. "You've never been wrong about building." That warehouse is worth $1.8 million today. I never told the kids about it. Business was business. Family was family. I paid Tyler's college tuition in full. Northwestern, 4 years, no loans. Catherine went to state, but I paid for her graduate program too. Marketing degree, graduated summa cum laude. Everything they wanted, I built. Everything they needed, I provided. I thought that's what fathers do. But everything wasn't enough for them. For 30 years, family gatherings meant laughter in our kitchen. Tyler bringing girlfriends who called me Mr. Hayes until Dorothy insisted on William. But Catherine's college friends staying for dinner, then breakfast, then the whole weekend. I built a deck for summer barbecues, added a fire pit for autumn nights, installed a pool for grandchildren I hope to have someday. Dorothy and I made plans, retirement in Montana, near my brother James, a cabin by the lake where we'd read books and watch sunsets. Simple dream after complex years. Then Dorothy started getting tired. "Just fatigue," she said. "Iron deficiency, probably. Women our age deal with these things." But fatigue became exhaustion. Exhaustion became doctor visits. Doctor visits became tests. Tests became a word that stopped my heart. Leukemia. 63 days, the doctor said. Maybe longer with treatment, but... Dorothy squeezed my hand. "We'll fight it." Tyler's first question wasn't about treatment options or survival rates. It was about the house. Dad, have you thought about whether this place is too much for you to manage alone? Catherine nodded. We're just worried about your future financial security. They were asking about my money while their mother was dying. That's when I should have seen who they really were. In 2019, our estate planning attorney, Charles Brennan, walked us through trust documents in his downtown office. Professional advice: avoid probate, protect assets, plan for the future. A revocable living trust, he explained. William, you'll be the grantor and trustee. Dorothy becomes successor trustee if you die or become incapacitated. I signed papers that put our house into the trust. $960,000 in real estate, titled under Hayes Family Living Trust. Dorothy would take control only if something happened to me. What if something happens to Dorothy first? I asked. Then you maintain complete control as the original grantor, Charles said. The trust protects your assets either way. Dorothy signed as successor trustee, smiling like she always did when I handled business matters. You think of everything, Will. Charles also recommended changing our life insurance beneficiary from each other to our estate. Tax advantages, he said. Better control over distribution. Are you sure? Dorothy asked as I signed the forms. Trust me, I said. The insurance company processed the change within a week. $890,000 in coverage, beneficiary listed as Estate of William Hayes. I thought I was protecting them. I was actually protecting myself. The commercial property stayed separate, held under Hartwell Holdings, LLC. A different business name, different paperwork. Easier for tax purposes, Charles had explained years earlier. Dorothy knew about the house trust. The kids heard us discussing it during family dinners. None of them ever asked about Hartwell Holdings. The pattern started slowly. Tyler's investment opportunities, Catherine's temporary cash flow problems, Connor's startup ideas that needed just a little more funding. Dad, there's this real estate deal, Tyler would say over Sunday dinner. I just need $15,000 to get in on it. I'd write the check. He'd promised to pay it back with interest. The payback never came, but another opportunity always did. Catherine was smoother. Will, could you help with the wedding deposit? We'll Venmo you back once Connor's commission check comes in. $22,000 for a reception they couldn't afford. Connor's commission check somehow never materialized, but another wedding expense always appeared. The grandchildren's private school tuition, summer camps, sports equipment, music lessons. Every opportunity they wanted, I funded. They only call when they need money, Dorothy said one evening as I balanced the checkbook. That's what fathers do, I replied. Provide for their family. But providing became expected. Requests became demands. Gratitude became entitlement. Tyler's assistant started calling instead of Tyler himself. Mr. Hayes, Tyler needs those financial documents we discussed. Catherine would text instead of visiting. Dad, can you transfer $3,000 for the kids' school trip? Pretty urgent. Connor filmed everything at family gatherings. For memories, he said, but he only filmed when I paid for something. Dorothy's gentle concerns became sharper warnings. Will, they're using you. But I thought that's what fathers do, I told her. I was wrong. Dorothy's chemotherapy started on a Tuesday. Tyler drove down for the first appointment, sitting in the waiting room checking stock prices on his phone. How long does this take? He asked the nurse. Usually 3 to 4 hours, she replied. I've got calls to make, he told me. Can you text when she's done? Catherine attended the second treatment with her laptop. Working remotely, she explained, typing emails while Dorothy's IV dripped poison into her veins. Their conversations weren't about Dorothy's comfort or pain levels. They asked about insurance coverage. They wondered about home health care costs. They discussed whether the house was too much for me to manage. Dad, where do you keep the house deed? Catherine asked during Dorothy's third week of treatment. In the safe, I said. Why? Just wondering. Connor's researching estate planning for us. Connor researching our estate planning while Dorothy fought for her life. During week 4, Tyler brought documents. Dad, I found this financial planner who specializes in seniors. Want to set up a meeting? Maybe when Dorothy gets better, I said. If she gets better, Tyler corrected. We need to be realistic about planning. He said realistic like it was a kindness. Like planning for his mother's death while she was still fighting was somehow helpful. Dorothy's sharp mind caught everything despite the morphine. Her eyes would find mine across the treatment room when they thought she wasn't listening. She saw something I couldn't yet admit. They weren't worried about Dorothy. They were planning for her death. Week 7 of treatment. Dorothy's voice became a whisper. The leukemia was winning, and we all knew it. But she still noticed everything. Will, as she said one afternoon after Tyler and Catherine left early, I heard them talking in the hallway. About what? They think you'll be confused after I'm gone, vulnerable to making bad financial decisions. Dorothy's fingers traced the blanket edge. They're planning some kind of intervention. Legal papers. You're imagining things, I said, but the medication makes you... I'm dying, not stupid, she snapped with the fire I married. They came last month asking about deeds, not asking how I felt, asking where you keep documents. That night, Dorothy called Carol Manning, her hospice nurse, a woman with 30 years of experience who'd seen every family dynamic imaginable. Carol, I need a favor, Dorothy whispered. Can you witness something for me? Carol stayed late that evening, watching Dorothy write with shaking hands. The letter took her 40 minutes to complete. 2 paragraphs that said everything. Will, I heard them. Tyler and Katie came last month. They didn't ask about me. They asked where you keep the house deed. Please don't let them take what you built. You earned your peace. Dorothy sealed the envelope herself. Carol signed as witness, adding her nursing license number. Hide this, Dorothy told me. They'll come for you after I'm gone. That letter became Dorothy's final gift. The truth. Dorothy saw something I couldn't yet admit. 250 miles. That's the distance between our house and Tyler's place in the city. 30 minutes on the interstate if traffic cooperates. 25 minutes from Catherine's suburban subdivision. During Dorothy's final months, those 30 minutes became impossible for them to drive. I made every doctor appointment alone. Chemotherapy sessions where I held Dorothy's hand while nurses adjusted IV drips. Radiation treatments where I read her crossword puzzle clues aloud. Where are the kids today? Nurses would ask. Work is crazy for them, I'd say. You know how it is. But I started tracking their social media. Tyler posting LinkedIn updates about successful client meetings. Catherine sharing Instagram photos from weekend brunches. Connor documenting his golf games. Meanwhile, I drove Dorothy to treatments at 6 in the morning, held her while she threw up, and carried her to bed when she couldn't walk. Tyler texted instead of calling. How's Mom? Thinking of you guys. Catherine sent emoji-filled messages. Love you both. Sorry I can't visit more. 3 weeks into treatment, Tyler's assistant called. Mr. Hayes? Tyler's in meetings all day. Can you email Mom's insurance information? His assistant. Not him. His assistant calling about his dying mother's insurance information. Catherine managed 1 visit per week, staying 20 minutes, always checking her phone. I wish I could stay longer, she'd say, keys already in her hand. Distance isn't geographical, it's emotional. They lived 30 minutes away, but stayed 30 miles removed from our pain. Week 8. Dorothy could barely keep water down, but Tyler found time to visit with questions about our finances. Dad, have you thought about consolidating accounts? Simplifying things for when... He couldn't say when Mom dies. Too honest. For future planning, he continued. Connor knows a guy who handles senior financial management. Connor, who'd failed at 3 startup businesses that I'd funded. Connor, who'd never held a job longer than 18 months. Connor was researching my financial management. Catherine and I think you should meet with him, Tyler said. Why now? Dorothy asked from her hospital bed. Tyler looked uncomfortable. Mom, we're just trying to help Dad prepare. Prepare for what? Dorothy's voice carried steel despite the weakness. For practical realities, Catherine said, appearing in the doorway with Connor behind her. A coordinated visit. Planned in advance. Connor had documents. Mr. Hayes, I've researched some options for asset protection and simplified management. Asset protection. From what? From who? We're worried about cognitive decline, Catherine said gently. It's normal at your age, especially under stress. Cognitive decline. I was 63 years old, ran a business for 40 years, and they were discussing my mental capacity while their mother fought for her life. I found this memory care facility, Tyler added. Very nice. They have availability. They'd researched nursing homes for me while Dorothy was dying. I started to wonder if Dorothy was right. They weren't planning for her recovery. They were planning for my removal. Dorothy's last coherent week, she insisted on talking alone with each child. I thought she wanted to say goodbye, share final memories, tell them she loved them. Tyler spent 10 minutes with her, mostly checking his phone. When he left, Dorothy was crying. What did he say? I asked. He asked if I'd signed a new will recently. Catherine's visit lasted 15 minutes. She brought her laptop, typing notes while Dorothy spoke. What were you writing? I asked after Catherine left. She was asking about your daily routine, Dorothy whispered. Whether you forget things, whether you repeat conversations. They were building a case for incompetency while their mother was dying. Connor didn't visit Dorothy at all. He sent flowers with a card. Thinking of you, can't wait to see you soon. Dorothy was in hospice. There would be no soon. In the final week, Dorothy's morphine dose increased. She slept 20 hours a day, waking only for sips of water and whispered words. But Tuesday morning, her eyes opened clear and sharp, more alert than she'd been in weeks. Will, she said, they're coming after the funeral, with lawyers. You're confused. I'm dying, not stupid, she repeated. Promise me you won't sign anything. Thursday afternoon, Dorothy squeezed my hand one last time. Don't let them take what you built. Those were her final words. Dorothy's last gift was the truth. They'd been planning to steal everything while she fought for her life. Dorothy died Friday at 3:17 a.m. I held her hand as her breathing slowed, then stopped. 35 years of marriage ending with a whisper of air. I called Tyler at 3:45 a.m. Dad, what's wrong? Your mother died 28 minutes ago. Silence. Then, I'm sorry for your loss. We'll need to discuss arrangements. Not, I'm sorry she's gone, or I'll be right there. He wanted to discuss arrangements. Catherine's call came 3 hours later. Dad, I just saw Tyler's text. This is so hard for all of us. About the house, do you think you should stay there alone? Her mother had been dead for 6 hours, and Catherine was asking about real estate. Funeral planning became my solo project. Tyler delegated everything through emails. Catherine sent Pinterest links for celebration of life themes. Connor researched catering options and sent me invoices. We think Mom would want something joyful, Catherine explained over the phone. A celebration, not a funeral. They planned a party while I planned to bury the love of my life. The funeral home required an $8,200 payment. I wrote the check alone. Tyler sent a Venmo request for his third of the cost. Catherine did the same. Connor added, "Thanks for handling everything," with a smiley face emoji. None of the requests were ever paid. They were already dividing what wasn't theirs. 3 days before the funeral, Catherine's email arrived. Dad, we've decided Mom would want us to celebrate her life, not mourn. Cancun for healing, you understand. The morning of Dorothy's funeral, I sat alone in our kitchen, staring at Catherine's email about their healing trip to Cancun. I dressed in the black suit Dorothy bought me for our 35th anniversary. She'd said I looked distinguished, like a man who built something important. The funeral home called at 8 a.m. Mr. Hayes, we're ready for the service. Will the family be arriving separately? There is no family, I said. Just me. 12 empty pews, Dorothy's favorite hymns echoing in hollow space. Neighbors filled the first 3 rows, asking the same question. Where are Tyler and Catherine? They're grieving in their own way, I told them. Pastor Williams delivered the eulogy to an audience that didn't include Dorothy's children. He spoke about family devotion, about love that endures. I wondered if he knew about the beach photos Tyler was posting on Instagram. The funeral director approached me after the service. Mr. Hayes, about the final arrangements. I wrote the $8,200 check while Dorothy's children sipped margaritas by a resort pool. Driving home alone, my phone buzzed with notifications. Tyler's Instagram story. Choosing healing over dwelling. Mom would understand. Catherine's Facebook post. Celebrating Mom's spirit in paradise. She'd want us to be happy. Connor's snap. Life's too short not to live it fully. They were celebrating while I grieved, partying while I buried, living fully while I died inside. And that's when I found Dorothy's letter, hidden in her bedside drawer, sealed and witnessed. 2 paragraphs that changed everything. 5 days after the funeral, I was cleaning Dorothy's bedside table when my fingers found the sealed envelope tucked behind her reading lamp. My name written in Dorothy's shaky handwriting. Below it, a witness signature. Carol Manning, RN, license number 347. Inside, 2 paragraphs that stopped my heart. Will, I heard them. Tyler and Katie came last month. They didn't ask about me. They asked where you keep the house deed. They asked about life insurance policies. They asked if you'd signed new documents recently. Catherine took photos of papers on your desk with her phone. They think I don't notice things because of the medication, but I notice everything. They're planning something for after I'm gone. Please don't let them take what you built. You earned your peace. I love you. Dorothy. The letter was dated 6 days before she died. Carol Manning's witness signature included her nursing license number and the date. Legal documentation of Dorothy's final lucid thoughts. They'd interrogated their dying mother about my assets. They'd photographed documents while she suffered through chemotherapy. They'd planned my financial future while she fought for her life. Dorothy was protecting me from the grave. My hands shook as I read the letter twice, then 3 times. Each word confirmed what I'd refused to believe. My children weren't grieving their mother's death. They were celebrating their inheritance opportunity. The phone rang. Tyler's name on the caller ID. Dad, we're back from Mexico. We need to come over and talk. Important family business. When? I asked. Today, this afternoon. Catherine and Connor are coming too. We've arranged for someone to help us discuss some things. Someone to help. That meant lawyers. Dorothy was protecting me from the grave, and they were coming with legal papers. At 2 p.m. sharp, 3 cars pulled into my driveway. Tyler's BMW, Catherine's SUV, and a silver Mercedes I didn't recognize. They walked to my door like a business delegation. Tyler in his navy suit, Catherine carrying a leather portfolio, Connor with a cell phone already recording for documentation purposes. Behind them, a man in an expensive gray suit carrying a briefcase. Dad, this is Jeffrey Morrison, Tyler said. He's an estate planning attorney. We've asked him to help us discuss some important decisions. Jeffrey Morrison extended his hand with the practiced smile of someone accustomed to difficult conversations. Mr. Hayes, I understand you've been through a tremendous loss. I'm here to help your family navigate some practical considerations. They arranged themselves in my living room like a tribunal. Morrison at the coffee table, opening his briefcase. Tyler and Catherine on the sofa. Connor in the corner chair with his phone positioned to capture everything. Mr. Hayes, Morrison began, your children are concerned about your well-being and your ability to manage complex financial decisions during this difficult time. I manage fine, I said. Of course, Morrison replied smoothly. But grief can affect judgment. Your children want to ensure you're protected from making decisions you might regret later. Catherine leaned forward. Dad, you're not thinking clearly since Mom died. We love you too much to watch you make mistakes. Mistakes? Like what? Like choosing my own food? Like deciding when to sleep? Like determining how to spend money I earned? Connor's camera captured my reaction. Legal documentation, he said when he saw me staring. They'd planned this while I was burying their mother. They'd coordinated this intervention while Dorothy was still warm in the ground. They'd brought lawyers and cameras into the home I built, planning to remove my autonomy 5 days after losing my wife. Morrison spread documents across my coffee table like a poker dealer. Power of attorney forms, trust modifications, banking authorizations, financial management agreements. These documents will simplify your life, Morrison explained. Your children would handle financial decisions, bill paying, investment management. You'd have complete freedom from those burdens. Complete freedom. From controlling my own money, from making my own choices, from living in my own house. Dad, Catherine said, we've researched memory care facilities. There's this beautiful place called Sunrise Villa, much safer than staying here alone. Memory care. I was 63 years old with perfect mental faculties, and they were discussing dementia treatment. The house is too much for you now, Tyler added. Too many stairs, too much maintenance. We could sell it and use the proceeds for your care. Sell the house. The house I built with my own hands. The house Dorothy and I raised them in. The house that held 35 years of memories. We've had it appraised, Connor said, still filming. $960,000 according to the realtor. They'd appraised my house while I was grieving their mother. Morrison pushed a pen across the table. Mr. Hayes, these documents require your signature. Your children have your best interests at heart. Tyler reached into his jacket and pulled out nursing home brochures. Sunrise Villa's glossy pamphlet showed elderly people playing checkers and eating pureed food. The memory care wing has excellent reviews. I don't need memory care, I said. Not yet, Catherine replied. But wouldn't you rather choose now while you can, instead of waiting until you can't? Connor's phone captured every word. Legal documentation of my resistance to their help. This was never about my well-being. This was about my assets. They'd brought lawyers to steal my life. Morrison's voice took on the patient tone used with confused elderly people. Mr. Hayes, waiting to plan can create legal vulnerabilities. Acting now protects you from future complications. Legal vulnerabilities, like making my own decisions, like choosing where to live, like controlling money I earned. Sign here, Tyler said, pointing to the power of attorney document. We'll handle everything from now on. Catherine smiled the way she used to when asking for college money. Dad, think of it as retirement, real retirement. No bills, no decisions, no stress. No bills, no decisions, no life. The house sale could happen quickly, Connor added. We've already talked to realtors. Already talked to realtors. While I sat in that empty church, they were pricing my home. I looked at Tyler, my son who couldn't drive 30 minutes to visit his dying mother, but could coordinate lawyers to steal my house. I looked at Catherine, my daughter, who chose margaritas over mourning but found time to research my forced institutionalization. I looked at Connor, my son-in-law, who'd never held a job but somehow became an expert on my financial management. Morrison tapped his pen on the power of attorney form. Your signature transfers financial responsibility to people who love you. Surely that's preferable to struggling alone. Struggling alone, like I'd struggled alone through Dorothy's illness, like I'd struggled alone through their abandonment, like I'd struggled alone through their mother's funeral. Something inside me went cold and quiet, not angry cold, strategic cold, the same cold I felt when surveying a construction site, calculating angles and stresses and what needed to be built or torn down. I looked at Morrison, at Tyler, at Catherine, at Connor's camera. I need time to review these documents. Time can create legal complications, Morrison warned. I'll have my attorney look at them. That's when I knew exactly what I was going to do. Tyler's face tightened. Dad, we don't have time for delays. The longer you wait, the more complicated this becomes. Complicated how? Morrison fielded the question. Mr. Hayes, your children are concerned about your decision-making capacity. If you refuse reasonable help, they might need to pursue alternative legal protections. Alternative legal protections. Conservatorship. Guardianship. Legal proceedings to declare me mentally incompetent. Catherine's voice softened to the tone she used when manipulating me into funding her projects. Dad, we're not trying to hurt you. We love you. But you're not yourself since Mom died. Not myself. Because I wouldn't sign away my autonomy? Because I wanted to review documents before surrendering my life? Because I preferred keeping the home I built to moving into institutional care? Sign the papers, Dad, Tyler said. Trust us. Trust them. The children who abandoned their dying mother for beach vacations. Trust them with the house I built, the money I earned, the life I created. Connor's camera captured my hesitation, evidence for their incompetency case. I stood up slowly, my 63-year-old knees protesting. Construction work leaves marks on your body. 40 years of building things creates permanent aches and permanent strength. I appreciate your concern, I said, but I need my attorney Charles Brennan to review these documents before I sign anything. Morrison's professional mask slipped slightly. Mr. Hayes, consulting attorneys creates delays that might not be in your best interest. Charles has handled my legal affairs for 20 years. I trust his judgment. Tyler and Catherine exchanged glances. This wasn't going according to their plan. How long? Tyler asked. As long as it takes. Connor stopped recording. Morrison gathered his documents. Catherine's helpful smile faded to frustrated disappointment. They left without saying goodbye. No hugs, no, "We love you, Dad," just frustrated silence and car doors slamming. I knew exactly what I was going to do. They'd shown me who they really were. Now I'd show them who I am. That evening I sat at my kitchen table with Dorothy's letter and every legal document Charles Brennan had prepared over the years. The house deed, trust paperwork, insurance policies, business documents. The truth became crystal clear as I read through everything. The Hayes Family Living Trust listed me as grantor and trustee. Dorothy was designated as successor trustee, but only if I died or became incapacitated. Since Dorothy died first, I remained in complete control. They couldn't touch the house without my signature. The life insurance policy showed estate of William Hayes as beneficiary. I'd changed it from Dorothy 2 years ago on Charles's advice. Tax advantages, he'd said. Better control over distribution. $890,000 that would flow through my estate. Under my control. Not directly to my children like they expected. But here's what they really didn't know. Hartwell Holdings, LLC. The commercial warehouse I bought in 2008 for $48,000. Current value, $1.8 million. Hidden in business documents they'd never seen. Owned by an LLC they didn't know existed. They'd been planning to steal assets that weren't theirs to take. They'd researched nursing homes and power of attorney documents for a man who controlled more money than they imagined. They'd brought lawyers to intimidate someone who understood legal structures better than they did. I called Charles Brennan at home. "Charles, I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning." "Will, what's wrong?" "My children tried to steal my life today. Tomorrow I'm taking it back." They'd been planning to steal what was never theirs. Charles Brennan's office at 8 a.m. sharp. Coffee still hot. Legal documents spread across his conference table. "Will, tell me exactly what happened." I showed him Dorothy's letter. Morrison's business card. The unsigned power of attorney forms Tyler had left behind. Charles read Dorothy's letter twice, shaking his head. "This is witness documentation of financial elder abuse planning. Can they force me into conservatorship? Not without proving incompetency in court. And given your business management history, that would be extremely difficult. What about the trust?" Charles smiled grimly. "Will, you're the grantor, and currently the sole trustee. You have complete control. You can amend, revoke, or modify any aspect of the trust without anyone's permission." "Including beneficiaries?" "Including beneficiaries." I slid a piece of paper across his desk. "I want these changes made immediately." Charles read my handwritten list. His eyebrows rose. "Will, are you absolutely certain about this?" "My dying wife documented their greed. My living children proved it with lawyers and cameras. I'm certain. This will be irrevocable once executed." "Good. They wanted control of my assets. Now they'll get exactly what they deserve from them." Charles began drafting amendments. "What's your timeline? How fast can you work?" "Give me 3 days for proper documentation." "Perfect. They think they have time to pressure me." The legal wheels started turning. By the time Tyler and Catherine realized what happened, their inheritance would be mathematically impossible to claim. That evening, I gathered evidence like a construction manager documenting code violations. Connor's intervention video, downloaded from his cloud storage before he could delete it. Text messages from Tyler requesting financial documents. Catherine's emails about simplifying my finances. The Venmo requests for funeral costs they never paid. $8,200 I spent alone while they vacationed. Instagram photos from their Cancun trip, time-stamped during Dorothy's funeral service. Tyler's golf game posted while I wrote eulogy notes. Catherine's beach sunset shared while I chose her mother's casket. Social media evidence of their priorities: pleasure over grief, vacation over family, self interest over love. I printed medical appointment logs from Dorothy's treatment center: 43 appointments over 9 weeks. William Hayes signed in as companion for 41 of them. Tyler, 2 visits. Catherine, 1 visit. Connor, 0 visits. They had abandoned their dying mother but researched my forced institutionalization. I documented their financial dependency. Tyler's investment loans, totaling $87,000 over 5 years. Catherine's temporary assistance adding up to $64,000. Connor's failed business funding, $39,000. $190,000 of my money they'd treated as their inheritance advance. They'd spent my generosity while planning my removal. Dorothy's letters sat in the center of my dining table, witness signature clear and legal. Her final gift: documentation of their true character. Evidence made their character undeniable. They'd provided me with everything I needed to protect myself from their greed. Sleep came easier that night than it had since Dorothy's diagnosis. For the first time in months, I wasn't angry or hurt or confused. I was calm, determined, strategic. I reviewed 35 years of giving and receiving nothing meaningful in return. Birthday gifts I bought for grandchildren who forgot to call on my birthday. Christmas dinners I funded for family who couldn't visit during emergencies. College educations I paid for children who couldn't attend their mother's funeral. Dorothy's words echoed in my memory: they only call when they need money. I'd made excuses for them: work stress, young families, busy lives, geographic distance. But 30 minutes isn't geographic distance. It's emotional distance. They'd lived 30 minutes away, but stayed 30 miles removed from our pain. I thought about Tyler's first question after Dorothy's diagnosis: what about the house? I thought about Catherine's research into memory care while Dorothy fought leukemia. I thought about Connor's camera documenting my incompetency for future court proceedings. They'd planned to steal my autonomy while Dorothy was dying. They'd brought lawyers to my home 5 days after I buried my wife. They'd treated my grief as an opportunity and my love as weakness. Family is earned through behavior, not biology. Respect is demonstrated through actions, not inherited through blood. They'd shown me their character, taught me their values, demonstrated their priorities. Now they'd receive exactly what they'd given me: nothing. By morning, the plan was in motion. Legal documents would reshape their future just like they'd tried to reshape mine. The difference was, mine would be legal, complete, and irreversible. Thursday morning, Charles Brennan's conference room became a legal operating theater. Documents spread across mahogany, each paper a surgical instrument designed to remove my children from my financial life. Trust Amendment Number 1, Charles said, sliding papers across the table. Successor trustee changed from Tyler and Catherine to myself as professional fiduciary. I signed with steady hands. 40 years of construction work creates precise penmanship. Trust Amendment Number 2, beneficiary modifications. This was the big one. Original trust left everything to my children equally. The amendment redirected assets to establish a charitable remainder trust. 90% to Children's Cancer Research Hospital. 10% provides me lifetime income. Are you certain, Will? Dorothy died of leukemia. The charity honors her memory. The children dishonored it. Signature. Notarization. Legal and binding. Life insurance beneficiary modification. Charles presented new forms. Proceeds will fund the charitable remainder trust instead of flowing directly to your children. $890,000 they expected would become zero. They deserved. Another signature. Another notarization. Commercial property transfer. The Hartwell Holdings documents came out. $1.8 million in real estate value. Transfer to irrevocable charitable trust. Children's Hospital gets the property. You retain lifetime use if needed. They never knew it existed anyway. Signature. Notarization. Charles's witness signature. Everything they wanted was disappearing legally. Every asset they'd planned to control was flowing to charity. Every inheritance they'd expected was transforming into gifts for strangers. House sale authorization? Charles asked. Immediate listing, price to sell fast. Everything they thought belonged to them was vanishing into legal documents they'd never see coming. Friday morning, I called Brennan Realty, the company that had sold Dorothy and me our first house together in 1988. Tom, it's Will Hayes. I need to sell my house. Immediately. Will, I'm sorry for your loss. Dorothy was a wonderful woman. Are you sure you're ready? I'm ready. Price it to move fast. The market's strong. 960,000 is realistic, but if you want a quick sale, 850,000. Cash offers only. Tom Brennan understood. Seller motivation often involves life circumstances. Real estate agents learn not to question. I'll have the listing live by Monday, photos Tuesday, showings start Wednesday. Next call. Brothers Moving Company. Will Hayes. I need furniture donation, pickup, and personal items packed for long-distance shipping. Where are you moving, Mr. Hayes? Montana. My brother James has a ranch near Missoula. 24 hours to dismantle 35 years of accumulated life. Dorothy's clothes to Goodwill, furniture to church charity sales, kitchen items to the women's shelter. I kept photos, Dorothy's jewelry, my tools, books. 50 years of personal history fit into 8 boxes and 1 pickup truck. The neighbors asked careful questions. Will, are Tyler and Catherine helping you move? They're very busy with their own lives. Truth without explanation. The kindest response I could manage. By Friday evening, for sale signs appeared on the lawn I'd mowed for 35 years. The house I'd built was officially available to strangers. They thought they had time to pressure me. They were wrong. Charles arranged the charitable remainder trust paperwork on Saturday. Legal machinery moving faster than Tyler and Catherine could imagine. Children's Cancer Research Hospital will receive approximately $2.7 million upon your death, Charles explained. During your lifetime, the trust provides 10% annual income, $270,000 per year, more than most people need for comfortable retirement, especially with minimal living expenses. I thought about Dorothy's dreams of simple Montana retirement, cabin by the lake, books and sunsets, peaceful silence after decades of construction noise. The life insurance company processed beneficiary changes within hours. Modern technology makes financial transfers seamless when paperwork is properly executed. Estate of William Hayes became Hayes Family Charitable Remainder Trust. $890,000 diverted from children who'd abandoned their mother to charity that would honor her memory. Bank of America updated my accounts. Emergency contacts changed from Tyler and Catherine to Charles Brennan. Automatic deposit information modified for Montana. Address. Safety deposit box contents removed. Important documents transferred to Charles's office safe. House deed, business records, insurance policies, everything they'd planned to control. The commercial warehouse property transfer required one final signature. Hartwell Holdings, LLC dissolved. Assets transferred to irrevocable charitable trust. $1.8 million they didn't know existed, donated to help children they'd never meet. Investment accounts liquidated or transferred. Retirement funds redirected through new beneficiary designations. Millions they expected became zero they deserved. Every asset they'd planned to inherit was flowing to strangers who needed help more than grown children who'd chosen selfishness. Sunday evening, I drafted the final communication. 2 sentences that would end 35 years of giving and receiving nothing meaningful in return. You taught me that family is earned through behavior, not biology. You've received exactly what you gave, nothing. 2 sentences, no explanation, no elaboration, no justification. Charles reviewed the letter. Will, are you sure this is enough? Dorothy taught me that actions speak louder than words. My actions will speak loud enough. 3 copies printed. 3 certified mail envelopes addressed. Tyler Hayes, Catherine Hayes Sullivan, Connor Sullivan. Supporting documentation. Dorothy's witness letter. Charity donation confirmations. Medical appointment logs showing their absence. Social media printouts from their funeral vacation. Evidence without commentary. Facts without judgment. Truth without interpretation. New phone service activated in Montana. Old number disconnected. Mail forwarding arranged to James's ranch address. Bank notifications sent to former children. Account access terminated. Contact Charles Brennan for estate information. Of an investment company letters mailed. Beneficiary changes processed. New designations effective immediately. Insurance company notices delivered. Policy modifications complete. Updated beneficiaries on record. Legal paper trail documenting the complete severing of financial connections. They'd wanted to control my money. Now they'd learn what controlling nothing felt like. Phone numbers changed, addresses changed, financial connections severed, legal ties cut. They'd realize what they lost when it was gone. 3 weeks of methodical dismantling, 3 decades of generosity redirected, 3 children learning that disrespect has consequences and greed has prices. Monday brought the moving truck. Professional movers emptying the house I'd built while Tyler and Catherine had no idea their inheritance was disappearing into charity donations. Neighbors gathered on sidewalks, watching decades of family life loaded into a truck. Questions hung in spring air like humidity. Will, where are your children? They're busy with their own lives. Box by box, room by room, 35 years of memories loaded for transport. Dorothy's china set donated to the church where we'd married. Her wedding dress given to young mothers who couldn't afford their own. The workshop where I'd taught Tyler to use tools, emptied. The playroom where Catherine learned to read, vacant. The kitchen where family dinners happened before family became strangers, hollowed out. I kept Dorothy's wedding ring, her photo albums, the coffee mug she used every morning for 35 years. Everything else became someone else's treasure or charitable donation. Real estate agents arrived Tuesday. Professional photographers capturing empty rooms for online listings. The house I'd built with my hands reduced to pixels and property descriptions. Wednesday brought the first showing. Young couples walking through rooms where my children had grown up, planning their own family futures in spaces being abandoned. Beautiful bones, one buyer commented. This place was built with love. Built with love, abandoned by greed. Cash offer arrived. Thursday, $840,000. Close in 2 weeks. I signed acceptance papers in Charles's office while Tyler and Catherine had no idea their father was erasing himself from their reach. The truck pulled away Friday morning. 2,000 miles of highway stretched between my old life and new beginning. Dorothy's ashes in the passenger seat, finally heading to Montana like we'd planned. Rearview mirrors showed the house I'd built disappearing behind spring trees. 35 years of construction, child-rearing, and marriage reduced to fading memory. The driveway where Tyler learned to ride his bike. The front yard where Catherine picked dandelions for Mother's Day bouquets when love was simple and authentic. Interstate 90 stretched ahead like possibility. Radio played Dorothy's favorite song, Always on My Mind. I cried for the first time since the funeral, but these tears felt clean, honest, undiluted by disappointment or betrayal. My cell phone stayed powered off in the glove compartment. Old life unreachable, new life unknown but untainted. Miles clicked past. Illinois became Iowa, became Nebraska, became Colorado, became Wyoming. American landscape rolling like time itself, carrying me away from children who'd become strangers and toward family I'd chosen. At a truck stop in Wyoming, I spread Dorothy's ashes on a hillside overlooking endless sky. We made it, sweetheart. Not the way we planned, but we made it. Wind carried her remains into Montana air, clean, free, uncontaminated by the greed that had poisoned our final months. Grief finally felt clean without their contamination. 200 more miles to my brother's ranch, to chosen family, to peace I'd forgotten existed. James stood at his ranch gate like he'd been waiting 30 years for me to come home. Same weathered face, same steady eyes that saw everything and judged nothing. Welcome home, Will. 2 words that contained more family warmth than I'd felt in months. No questions about assets or inheritance or power of attorney, just brother, welcoming brother. The guest cabin sat 50 yards from the main house. 1 room, small kitchen, bathroom, wood stove. Everything I needed. Nothing I didn't want. How long you planning to stay? James asked. Forever if you'll have me. Always room for family here. Real family. Real family. People who show up when life gets hard. People who care about your well-being instead of your kebo. People who offer comfort instead of calculations. Montana's sky stretched infinite above us. No buildings blocking horizon. No traffic sounds or neighbor conflicts or social obligations. Just wind and grass and silence that healed instead of hurt. They're going to come looking for you, James said, not asking why. They'll never find me here. Good. Some bridges need burning. Evening brought deer to the meadow behind my cabin. Elk grazed in distant pastures. Natural beauty that cost nothing and demanded nothing except appreciation. I slept that night better than I had since Dorothy's diagnosis. But they were just discovering what I'd done. The reckoning was beginning 2,000 miles away. For 3 days, my phone stayed silent in the cabin drawer. 3 days of Montana peace while chaos erupted in Illinois. Day 4, I powered it on. 87 missed apples, 43 text messages, 15 voicemails. Tyler's progression from confused to panicked to angry told the story. Dad drove by the house, saw the for sale sign, call me. Dad, seriously? What's going on? The house sold? Where are you? Dad, call me now. What the hell did you do? Catherine's messages showed similar evolution. Will someone please tell me what's happening? Connor says you moved to Montana without telling us? This is insane. Call me back immediately. The bank had notified them about account changes. Investment companies had sent beneficiary modification letters. Insurance companies had mailed policy updates. Legal paper trail of their disinheritance arriving in certified mail packages while I watched Montana sunrise from my cabin porch. Connor left the most revealing message. Mr. Hayes, we need to discuss the legal implications of your recent financial decisions. These changes might not be in your best interest. Legal implications. Their concern wasn't my happiness or well-being. Their concern was legal protection for inheritance they'd planned to steal. Real estate agents had told them about the cash sale. Neighbors had reported moving trucks. Bank managers had explained account closures. They were learning that financial control belongs to the person who earned the money. The reckoning was beginning exactly as I'd planned. Week 2 in Montana brought frantic detective work from Illinois. Tyler hired a private investigator to locate me. Catherine consulted lawyers about challenging trust modifications. Connor researched grandchildren's rights to inheritance. The investigator found my Montana address within days. Professional services make privacy difficult in digital ages, but finding me didn't help them. Mr. Hayes, Tyler said when he finally reached me by phone, we need to talk. This is getting out of hand. Nothing's out of hand, and everything's exactly where it belongs. Dad, you can't just disappear and give away our inheritance. It was never your inheritance. It was my money. Catherine's call came next. Will, we're flying to Montana. This needs to be resolved. Don't bother. I won't see you. You're our father. You can't cut us off. You cut yourselves off when you abandoned your mother. Connor's legal research hit dead ends. Charles Brennan confirmed that all trust modifications were properly executed. All documents were legally binding. All changes were irrevocable. They'd consulted 3 different estate attorneys. Same answer each time. Your father had every right to modify his own trust. These documents are legally sound. Competency challenges failed before they started. Bank records showed methodical, rational financial planning. Medical records showed no cognitive decline. Legal experts found no evidence of diminished capacity. They'd been planning to steal nothing. Their inheritance was mathematically impossible to claim because it had never legally existed. Tyler's desperation grew expensive quickly. Legal consultations cost $300 per hour to hear the same answer. Your father's financial decisions were completely legal. Catherine hired a geriatric psychiatrist to evaluate my mental state from a distance. Diagnosis: insufficient evidence of impairment. Recent behavior suggests rational response to family dysfunction. Connor's investigation into grandchildren's inheritance rights yielded nothing. Children have no legal claim to parents' assets in the absence of specific legal obligations. Private investigator fees mounted. Legal consultation costs accumulated. Expert opinion expenses multiplied. They were spending their own money to discover they had no legal standing to claim mine. Meanwhile, charity confirmations arrived in their mailboxes. Children's Cancer Research Hospital sent acknowledgement letters for donations made in Dorothy Hayes' memory. $2.7 million flowing to help children they'd never meet, honoring a woman they'd abandoned during her final illness. Social consequences emerged as their neighbors learned the truth. Church members asking why William Hayes moved away so suddenly. Community members questioning why devoted husband and father would relocate alone. Where are Tyler and Catherine? Became the question that followed them through grocery stores and school events and neighborhood gatherings. Their reputations deteriorated as truth spread. Family abandonment stories travel fast in small communities where people still value dedication and responsibility. They were learning what irrevocable means in legal terms and social terms. Month 3 brought the final accounting. Legal bills totaling $18,000 to learn they had no legal recourse. Private investigator fees adding $4,000 to locate a man who'd never hidden from anyone except them. Their children asked questions they couldn't answer honestly. Why doesn't Grandpa call anymore? Where did Grandpa move? Why can't we visit him? Connor's business contacts learned about the family situation through small-town networking. Professional relationships strained when clients discovered he'd tried to financially manipulate elderly relatives. Catherine's social media posts about family values rang hollow after neighbors witnessed her abandonment of dying mother and living father. Tyler's financial advisor clients questioned his family management skills when word spread about estate planning disasters in his own family. Professional consequences following personal choices. Business reputation damaged by family behavior. Social standing compromised by moral failures. The final certified letters arrived on a Thursday in June. 3 identical envelopes containing 2 sentences and supporting documentation. You taught me that family is earned through behavior, not biology. You've received exactly what you gave, nothing. Attached, Dorothy's witness letter, charity donation records, medical appointment logs, their inheritance statement, 0 bones hours, numbers don't lie. Documentation doesn't deceive. Truth doesn't negotiate. They'd taught me that family is earned through action, demonstrated through sacrifice, and lost through abandonment. But the final message was still coming. The certified letters arrived simultaneously on June 15th. 3 envelopes containing identical messages delivered to 3 people who'd once been my children. You taught me that family is earned through behavior, not biology. You've received exactly what you gave, nothing. 2 sentences that ended 35 years of unconditional giving. 2 sentences that established new family rules. Respect is reciprocal, love is demonstrated, inheritance is earned. The briefest goodbye carried the deepest truth. Attached to each letter, complete documentation. Dorothy's witness letter photocopied with Carol Manning's nursing signature visible. Charity donation confirmations totaling $2.7 million. Medical appointment logs showing 41 William Hayes signatures. 2 Tyler appearances, 1 Catherine visit, 0 Connor participation. Their inheritance statement, $0, 0 assets, 0 consideration, evidence without commentary, facts without interpretation, truth that required no explanation, numbers don't lie about character. Montana sunrise brings coffee with James and peaceful silence that money can't buy. Dorothy's memory honored through charity work with families facing leukemia battles. Phone permanently silent from old life, permanently open to new friends who earn relationship through authenticity. Real family shows up when it matters. Chosen family values, character over convenience. True inheritance is example, not assets. They taught me that family is earned. I earned my peace.